Tonight, a special edition of World News Tonight, Pope Francis in America, and the breaking news of final mass here in Philadelphia for hundreds of thousands who gathered after the Pope meets with victims of clergy sex abuse, after he visits with prisoners today, and the moment he stopped the car and got out, leaving a family in tears. Also tonight, the new poll, Donald Trump losing ground, the Republican candidate suddenly tied with him, others gaining momentum. The concert chaos, the crowd rushing the stage, then a stampede, fans carried away on stretchers. The high school heartbreak, the star quarterback taking a hit and walking away, but later collapsing, losing his life. The invisible dangers for so many young players. And the miracle baby, a mother and father on a cruise far out to sea when the baby comes several months early, weighing a pound. The family right here tonight.
This is a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir. Reporting tonight from Philadelphia.
Good evening tonight from Philadelphia, and we begin with Pope Francis's final night in America. And if you look over my shoulder, you can see the extraordinary crowd that gathered here in Philly. The aerial images coming in now. His open air mass underway and nearing an end. Hundreds of thousands on hand for the Pope's message to families everywhere. And it comes after an emotional weekend here in Philadelphia. In fact, a short time after the Holy Father touched down, he suddenly stopped his driver, emerged from his compact car to bless a disabled boy. The boy's mother in tears, as you can see. And on this Sunday, meeting privately with victims of sexual abuse, making a solemn promise to survivors, vowing to hold those responsible accountable, saying, quote, God weeps. Then this powerful image, the Pope blessing prisoners, telling them all of us have something we need to be cleansed of. We do have team coverage again tonight, beginning with our chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, traveling with the Pope.
He made his way through the streets of Philadelphia. The crowd's thrilled, but smaller than expected. Smothering security shut this city down. But this was the main event for Francis, the families, so close to his heart. Love is shown by little things, he told them, like a hug or a warm supper. Before arriving at Mass, Pope Francis met privately with sex abuse victims, saying he was overwhelmed by shame and promising justice.
He is holding everyone accountable, and he said in no uncertain terms, this is what I commit to do.
Earlier, the Pope helicoptered just 10 miles north, but into another world on a mission of mercy. Inside Philadelphia's largest prison, his simple white cassock a stark contrast in those drab surroundings, Francis spoke to about 100 inmates. They listened, some casually, others intently, one in tears, to this visitor from so far away. This time in your life can only have one purpose, to give you a hand getting back on the right road, he said. All of us are part of that effort. Francis shook hands with everyone and received a bear hug from one man, blessing him in return. Since the moment Francis landed in Philadelphia, the band playing the theme from Rocky, extraordinary scenes at the airport. Waving out the open window, he sees someone, stops the car, walks over to 10-year-old Michael Keating, a boy living with disabilities. A kiss, a papal blessing, his mother overcome. At Independence Hall, before a crowd filled with immigrants, this son of immigrants declared his solidarity with them all. And then a prayer vigil last night where Aretha Franklin sang, and Francis offered a little advice on family life.
And sometimes plates can fly.
En las familias, los hijos traen dolores de cabeza.
And children bring headaches.
No voy a hablar de la suegra.
I won't speak about mother-in-laws.
That's classic Pope Francis, a pope who's full of surprises and who clearly wants to shake things up in his church, in the United States, and around the world. David?
Terry, thank you for your incredible reporting all week long. And the city of brotherly love electrified tonight. But as you heard Terry report there, much of this city on lockdown. Unprecedented security, sharpshooters on rooftops. We took note of the many nuns and priests going through those metal detectors. Everyone in those giant lines, us included today. But once inside, a massive crowd who saw the Pope right past them, so many could almost reach out and touch him. That's where we find our own Cecilia Vega in the crowd on this final night. Cecilia?
Hey, David, good evening to you. You know, this crowd here may not have been able to get very close, but it didn't matter to them. As one woman told me today, just being here was enough.
The city of brotherly love is in love with Pope Francis. thousands upon thousands of pilgrims packing the city's center to bid the Holy Father a final farewell. So many people, they couldn't all make it in.
This is what Philadelphia woke up to this morning. Security fences all around the center of the city. You can see law enforcement from every different agency out here. This is how you keep 1 million people and one pope safe.
Security so intense it took hours to pass through, the line stretching as far as the eye could see. Inside, the wait just to catch a glimpse even longer. But it was all worth it.
We slept next to the convention center.
Pope Francis in his Pope Mobile giving papal waves and papal baby kisses. He got a holy chuckle out of baby Quinn in her papal best, the 4-month-old hoisted to security, delivered straight to the Pope. Even just the brief sight of him, enough to bring some to tears.
He's everybody's Pope.
He's everybody's Pope,
yes.
Others even luckier. This family traveling 13,000 miles in a van through 13 countries, all the way from Buenos Aires.
We think he's a very loving person, very down to earth.
I love him because he's the first Pope that I really understand.
And it paid off. This morning they got a surprise phone call, an invitation to meet Pope Francis in person.
They are definitely the lucky ones. Now, the early crowd count for this crowd out here, 860,000 people. That's fewer than the million predicted. This tight security out here probably had a lot to do with that. Pope Francis now on his way home. David, these people here all leaving feeling just a little closer tonight to the people's Pope. David.
His 4,000-mile trip home now. Cecilia Vega, who's been with the crowds from day one. Cecilia, thanks, and we'll have more later here. In the meantime, we do move on to the other major headlines tonight. The race for 2016 and a reality check for Donald Trump. The Republican frontrunner now sharing the top spot tonight. New numbers this evening showing Trump's big lead gone, now in a statistical dead heat with Dr. Ben Carson. And a reality check for Hillary Clinton as well. The Democratic side tightening significantly tonight. And ABC's Tom Yamas on the campaign trail.
I'm leading every poll nationwide. I'm leading every state.
For months, that was true. But tonight, that new national poll shows the outspoken billionaire neck and neck with the low-key neurosurgeon, another political outsider.
I think it says a lot for the American people because it means that they're not necessarily listening to the pundits, but they're starting to think for themselves.
Battling it out for third place, Senator Marco Rubio and Carly Fiorina.
Hey, we're doing something right.
Fiorina now facing new scrutiny over her tenure at Hewlett-Packard. Critics point out it was her first and last job as CEO.
I was recruited to Hewlett-Packard to save a company, and we did that and saved a lot of jobs in the process.
Today, Trump is not the only frontrunner slipping. Hillary Clinton now leads Senator Bernie Sanders by just 7 points nationwide, a huge drop from July. Now, Clinton acknowledging the controversy over her emails has taken a toll.
It is like a drip, 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 and that's why I said there's only so much that I can control. But what I have tried to do in explaining this is to provide more transparency and more information than anybody that I'm aware of who's ever served in the government.
David, both frontrunners facing headwinds tonight. Tomorrow, Donald Trump will introduce his tax plan, which he says will benefit the middle class and be tax-friendly to corporations that keep jobs in America. David?
Tom Yamas on the campaign trail for us again tonight. Tom, thank you. And after his bombshell announcement that he's stepping down and leaving Congress, House Speaker John Boehner back in the news tonight because of what he's now saying. Just days after a surprise announcement, Boehner declaring this Sunday there will be no government shutdown over defunding Planned Parenthood, confirming plans to pass a short-term government funding bill with the help of Democrats. But there's something else he said getting a lot of attention tonight, many believe aimed at the fractured Republican majority he tried to lead.
You know, the Bible says, beware of false prophets. We got groups here in town, members of the House and Senate here in town, who whip people into a frenzy believing they can accomplish things that they know are never going to happen.
Boehner accusing hardline conservatives of being absolutely unrealistic, in his words, about how much a Republican Congress can accomplish with a Democrat in the White House. From Baltimore tonight, a major development in the case of Freddie Gray, who died after riding in that police van last April, his spine nearly severed. 6 Baltimore police officers now charged in connection to his death. All 6 have pleaded not guilty. Tonight, the Baltimore Sun reporting one officer warned fellow cops Gray had asked for medical help while in that van, and that some of the officers reportedly suspected Gray was faking his injuries to avoid going to jail. Now to a dangerous weekend accident in Arizona. A sudden crush of fans at a music festival outside Phoenix. Ambulances on the scene, fans carried off on stretchers. At least 9 injured. Tonight, eyewitnesses now speaking out about those frantic moments. ABC's Clayton Sandell now.
For some of the 27,000 fans at the 4-day Summer Ends Music Fest in Tempe, Arizona, a wild night ended very badly. Carried away on stretchers.
People were getting hurt, people were falling down.
Shortly after hometown rockers Revolution took the stage and the crowd began surging dangerously forward, nearly causing a stampede.
Everybody is pushing back and forth, and I saw this one girl go down and she started having a seizure.
The show temporarily came to a halt so fans could be rescued from under the crush. Paramedics took 9 people to the hospital.
One of the paramedics actually pulled me out because I couldn't get out, so then people started lifting me up, trying to get me out, and I did, thankfully.
The fire department says many of the concert goers were drunk and dehydrated after a day in 105-degree heat. But with a much smaller crowd expected tonight, along with more security and paramedics, they're hoping cooler heads allow the show to go on. Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Denver.
Clayton, thank you. And now to that Friday Night Lights tragedy at a high school in New Jersey. The star quarterback injured after a hard hit, able to walk off the field, even flashing a thumbs up. Hours later, that star athlete dying at the hospital. And ABC's Ron Claiborne tonight on the hidden dangers these young players face.
The latest high school football fatality, 17-year-old Evan Murray, star quarterback for Warren Hills High School in New Jersey. Murray, number 18, seen here in a previous game, took a hard hit during a game Friday night, staggered from the field, then collapsed on the sidelines. He died later at a local hospital.
Everyone cheers for him at football games, basketball, baseball. He's just a really good kid.
So far this season, Murray is the 3rd high school player to die after an on-field football injury. Football fatalities at all levels of the sport are rare, but high schoolers suffer catastrophic brain injuries at a rate roughly 40% higher than college players.
High school players may not have the same medical care as the college players, and there may also be some anatomic factors where the younger brain is more susceptible to bleed when there is a hit to the head.
It isn't known yet what killed Evan Murray. His teammates left grieving an impromptu memorial outside the stadium where he played his last game.
Spectators say the hit that Murray took did not seem to them especially hard. But, David, we will not know if that was the blow that killed him until an autopsy is performed. David?
Ron Claiborne tonight. Ron, thank you. Now to a stunning new claim in the scandal engulfing Volkswagen, the largest automaker in the world, admitting they use special software to cheat on emission tests in 11 million cars worldwide. Now German media reporting Volkswagen was warned about the deception at least 3 years ago. Volkswagen declining to comment on these new claims. And a new clue tonight after that deadly crash in Seattle. The duck boat swerving into oncoming traffic, slamming into a charter bus. 4 students killed. Eyewitnesses say the left tire on that duck boat locked up moments before the crash. Tonight, federal investigators revealing something else, that the vehicle's left front axle was sheared off, admitting they don't know how or when that occurred. Next tonight, here to that miracle at sea, a baby born on a cruise ship weighing just a pound, more than 3 months early and more than 100 miles out at sea. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, the tiny baby who beat big odds. Hayden Morgan, born at just 23 weeks and 14 hours from land.
I knew that this was the true labor pains, that I was going to have this baby.
2 days out at sea on a cruise with her husband and 3-year-old daughter, mother Emily Morgan suddenly goes into labor. The baby weighing 1.5 pounds, his little hands the size of quarters. Doctors brace the Morgans, telling them their son is unlikely to survive.
I was basically just trying to stay strong and really focus on Emily.
But Emily is determined, her maternal instinct kicking in. She insists on seeing her baby.
All I wanted was just to see him. I didn't care if he was alive or if he was dead.
Meeting him for the first time, she sees his pink skin, hears him breathing, and knows he is a survivor. As the captain races to shore, the Morgans and the medical staff race to keep the baby alive. wrapping him in towels and heated saline packets, creating a makeshift incubator.
I'm going to do everything possible. I don't want to live with any regrets.
They reach land with no time to spare.
He was a miracle to push through that, and he is a fighter.
Hayden remains hospitalized, but the family now hopeful he will be released by late December, his original due date. Mary Bruce, ABC News, Washington.
Mary, thank you. And to the index of other news tonight, starting with that dramatic water rescue, a driver trapped, his car filling with water. A state trooper's body cam capturing the scene. The driver's car plunged into a canal, his legs pinned, moments from drowning, but rescued in the nick of time. Just incredible. Now to that super harvest blood moon, or super blood moon for short. It's happening tonight. Images coming in now from Berlin to Somerset, England. A so-called supermoon, 14% larger, 30% brighter, followed by a lunar eclipse this time, only 5 times since 1900. The next one, as I mentioned, not until the year 2033. Tweet me your pictures. We hope to get some of them on tomorrow night here. And we're told that NASA this evening is preparing for a big announcement tomorrow. After this tweet, Mars mystery solved. Speculation now at a fever pitch. Some theories this better be aliens. And water on Mars, of course. Lots of ideas out there, and we'll be on this story come tomorrow. Finally tonight from Philadelphia, the countless faces we've met on the road this past week, all waiting for the Pope, and the boy who gave the Pope and this entire city one unexpected gift. After winding his way through Philadelphia, Pope Francis this evening will begin to make his 4,200-mile journey back home to the Vatican. It was there just a couple of weeks back we asked the Pope, "Are you ready for your trip to America?" And without even hesitating, he told us yes. And in every city we visited this week, Americans were ready for him. From the first moments, that little girl who ran through the barricade not once, but twice right toward the Pope. So many who lined the streets all the way from California.
I would have gone anywhere to see the Pope.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
The seminary student from Ohio, 1 month in, moved by a Pope reaching out to the people. There are big differences with this Pope.
He's fearless. That can be a scary thing, but he doesn't let that deter him.
In New York, the tens of thousands outside Central Park. How you guys doing?
Hey!
Even the NYPD telling us the crowd was different.
The crowds are tame. Is it the Pope effect?
We think so.
Yeah? They're behaving because it's Pope Francis.
That's right.
And here in Philadelphia tonight, the couple who flew all the way from Hawaii.
He's such a humble man.
Humble man.
Humble man.
And it was here in Philadelphia, a 14-year-old boy named Bobby Hill moved us all. After a change of plans, Bobby was asked, could he sing Pie Jesu a cappella, something he had never done before, and he had just 5 minutes to prepare. Just listen. And when he finished, Bobby, who wants to be an opera singer one day, walked up to the Pope and gave him a rock from his choir trip to Antarctica. You can see the Pope saying, "For me?" The Pope then calls him back and hands him a little red box, a rosary, in return. They shake hands, and then a standing ovation for Bobby. Bobby's voice, just incredible. And thank you for watching here on a Sunday night. For Cecilia and Tom and the entire weekend team, I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow night from New York. Until then, have a good evening. Good night.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for overall excellence in television and radio. ABC News, America's #1 news source.